Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good day to all of you. This is the content of our lecture for week one. And then what we are going to do here is that we are going to look at features of literature search. Yeah. Okay. We are going to look at the first learning outcome that is for reading, identifying organizational hierarchy, and features conducting literature search. Okay, this is because you guys are going in week five, you guys are going to do a presentation on the company of your choice. All right, so this is how you conduct the data gathering process. We are going to look at the types of data, primary and secondary data, and then I'm going to inform you to let you know the different search engines to gather data information, and then recognizing the importance and the style of citing sources. We are not going to do that today, perhaps later. Okay, right. So basically, there are many ways to gather sources or material for presentation, but these are the most famous one, the most usual or common to be employed by researchers or students. The first one, we are talking about primary data. We are going to divide them into primary data and secondary data, and I'm going to talk about primary data. In order to get primary data, there are two most common ways for you to get those things. The first one, by getting an interview with the person who is involved or directly in the business or in the area or in the mm, who are related to the to the research that you are doing or to the studies that you are doing. For example, if you want to know about a company, a certain company, you go talk to the employee or to the boss of the company, because they know the company well. They are the people who know the company very well, right? This the second way for you to get primary data is by going out and doing surveys. Yeah. Okay, in order to get an interview, obviously you have to ask for permission first. Okay, this could be done by making a phone call. This is the most common way, making a phone call, or you send an email to them asking for an appointment for their permission. Yeah, in the email, obviously you have to identify yourself by giving out your name, where do you come from. If you represent a newspaper company, then state you are from New Straits Time or the Malay Mail, things like that. And if you are from a student from your ITM, then say that I am a student from your ITM from this class, and then we are required to do. You have to inform, let them know what is the intention, what is the aim of your interview. What do you want to know? What are the things that you would like to know from them? And then if they agree to the interview, then you could set up an appointment after that, a specific date for you to go to interview them, meeting them face to face, or during this time you could say that I would like to make an appointment to do a Google Meet sesh interview or Zoom interview or WebEx interview. It's totally up to you on how you are going to conduct the interview. And the second part is doing survey. In order All right. The aim of a survey is to provide a general or comprehensive view of a group of people, what a group of people think or believe or know about something. For example, you want to know about, for example, the one that I did with you, I would like to know your ODL situation, whether you have gotten a device to yourself, about how about your internet connection, things like that. And then I uh, I ask you guys to complete the survey online by filling in Google form. Yeah, that is what it meant by doing survey, and that is considered as primary data. And then you have to make sure it is okay, because I totally I you are under me for this class. So I don't have to make sure your privacy, ensure your privacy to be that it will be protected. But it's not that I'm going to sell the information to other parties, so second party or third part to the third parties. But if you were to do, for example, you are a student doing a survey and then you are doing a study, you have to make sure that their privacy of the respondents are protected. Whenever, if you are doing a survey and then you present the results to other people, you could not include the names of the respondents. Yeah, you should not do that. And in fact, you could not give out the class. It's just a very basic information. If you want to talk about the domestic part of it, demographic part of it, it's okay. They are students of office management at UITM Jengke. That is okay. But I could not say that, oh, these students, they are from BA 118, 4D or 4E or 4F. No, that is not possible. And if I cannot mention your name, these students, they are Ali, Abu, and Baka. No, I cannot do that. And you should not do that as well, right? You must make sure their confidentiality are secured. Yeah. Okay, make sure you do that. And the second type of data is called a secondary data. Secondary data is the information that is gathered from reading periodical and from the internet. What does it mean by periodic? How do I pronounce this? Periodicals. Okay, periodicals meaning that is something that is contain current information on a variety of subject, and usually these are newspapers, magazines, or journal because they are published uh, regularly. That is what it meant by this. All right. For example, we examples of this source is newspaper provide daily accounts of current events, or magazine could be twice in a month, two times published in a month, or every week or every month, totally up to them. We could say journal is also considered is considered under this type of data because okay, now journal covers specialized disciplines and are written by experts in that field. All right, it is considered as secondary data. And then if you were to look for this kind of data, usually our library, university library or public libraries, uh, they provide this kind of data, and then these data are available at these places. And it's also possible that you look up for this kind of data online. All right, it's also considered as secondary data because we now these days we have online newspaper, online magazines, as well as so many online journal. Yeah. Okay. Uh, yeah, this is what I meant by looking for things online. You could also use the internet in order to find information, and we have a lots of search engines. When we talk about search engines, these are the examples of them. The first one is Yahoo or Google or Lycos or Infosec. Yeah, these are the types of search engines that you could use. And then it is stated here that it is important to start the research early. The earlier you start, the more time you will have. You will have to write and rehearse your speech. This one being referred to our assessment, our first assessment that will be conducted in week 5. So at this point, you could start looking for a partner and then have some plan in your mind on what you are going to use. Yeah, to use for the presentation, what kind of you have to figure out two organizations and then compare and contrast between the two. So you may start now. Always remember to write down the citation of your source. This one, it is important for you to follow APA format, that is American Psychological Association format for Modern Language Association MLA. Okay, for the APA, I'm not sure whether you have gotten through, you have passed your ELC231 uh, by this time, you should know what does it mean by APA and then what are the format for APA. yeah, APA citation. But yeah, I think I'm going through the citation formats again. Again, yeah, somewhere this month. It's not possible next month. Okay. Yep. Okay, assessment, the assessment pair presentation. You have to figure out two two organizations that you are interested in, and they have to be public listed company or multinational companies. Yeah, it's either public listed or multinational companies. Okay, and then it should be the presentation is either recorded or being live. I haven't talked about that yet. And then the duration should be 6 to 8 minutes. The weightage is 20%. All right. So this should be the flow of your presentation. Okay, you should begin your presentation with the introduction. Obviously, this is the flow of any presentation. Okay, the first one is the introduction. Should begin with an attention grabber or getter. Try to figure out what is the most suitable attention getter that you could use. Yeah, it then informs the audience what the presentation is all about. After that, you talk about we wish to elaborate or we wish to dissect the organizational structures of these two companies. They are blah 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 and blah blah blah. Right? So that after you have finished with that, you come up with the body or the content of the presentation. All right. I'm going to elaborate on the content later on, and then the third part is the conclusion. Okay. Imagine that you are going to. It's not imagine. You have to do a presentation slide, PowerPoint slide, or it totally up to you. If you want to use Canva, you want to use Prezi, totally up to you. As long as we could see the text, or we could see the picture. I could see the picture on the screen, right? And then bear in mind, whenever you are doing your presentation, please limit the number of words. We don't want any woody or lengthy sentences on the screen. All right. And then secondly, bear in mind that you are not reading the slide. You are not reading the slide. You are presenting, and then you have to know what you are talking about. It's not that you most common practice, I'm not sure whether it's practice or you are used to, usually students they will read out loud the contents, the slides. I do and then I believe because they are not well familiar with the slides, they could not uh recall what the slide is all about. Perhaps nervousness is a part of it, the reason behind it. And then the solution to that is only that you have to practice. Practice makes perfect. Practice quite a number of times, and then familiarize yourself with the contents, and then you're going to be comfortable about it, right? Okay, this is the suggestion on how your organization of slides is going to be, right? Obviously, the attention getter is not to be the attention getter or attention grabber is not going to be included in the slides. You have to tell us about things, yeah. You have to, for example, do you know that PNB is one of the largest public listed companies in Malaysia, and the profits of this company is 1 trillion ringgit a year, for example. I'm not sure, that is one example only. All right. In the first body, or the first slide, you may include the background of the company. All right. What does it mean by the background of the company? The first one, you want to say, perhaps you want to talk about the background, when it was created, when it was founded, who the person founded it, and then the background. Perhaps there's a story to the foundation, things like that in the first slide. And then you may want to include the vision and mission of the company. And usually, for this one, some companies, they are quite tricky. They do not clearly state the vision and mission. So you have to be very careful when selecting your company. You must come up with the vision and mission of the company, or at least you have the idea behind the vision and the mission of the organizations. Make sure you do that. Okay, bear in mind that you have to use complete sentences when you are stating when you are putting the vision and mission in your slide. And then slide number 2, you might want to talk about, this is a suggestion, that's why I said you might want to talk about. But if you want to follow this flow, then go ahead, no problem. Number 2 is that you talk about the board of directors. All right. The board of directors, we are talking about board of directors. The board must be more than one, right? Okay. And then you might want to talk about the organizational structure within the organization. Yeah. For example, who's the CEO, who's the chief CEO, chief executive officer, who's the CFO, chief financial officer, who's the chief operating officer, COO, things like that. All right. Um, Okay, the next slides, you are going to talk about the products or services that they provide. Okay, what kind of products that they specializes in, or what kind of services that they provide to the customers. You could describe the nature of the products or services, display pictures, things like that, and make sure these are not the sentences that you put in the slides not are very wordy. You might want to paste some pictures. It's just that, and then you explain further about the things that you included in the slides. Okay, number 4. Number 4, in the fourth slide, you have to talk about the differences and similarities between the two organizations that you have included. Perhaps you might want, based on the, you obviously you have to rehearse first, and then try to accommodate the number of differences and similarities as the time that you have. For example, if you think that um, two differences and two similarities is good enough for 6 to 8 minutes, then go ahead. If you want to talk about three similarities and one differences, then you may do so. Right? Totally up to you. You are grown up adults. Okay, you could try to talk to your friends, to your partner, and how many things that we want to include in this part based on the time that you think is suitable. Last but not least, is that you could include the latest updates about the company. For example, if you want to say that this company just hit their 1 trillion profit and so on, and go ahead. All right, do it here. And then you want to state your conclusion. So based on for example, based on our reading or further our research, this is the conclusion that we come up with. Things this something 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 and whatnot. And then you state the main ideas that you have, and then give a closing statement. All right. Okay, now we are going to talk about the organizational structure. Usually, in an organization structure is going to uh, be vertical. Yeah, vertical meaning that at the highest point we have the one person or a group of people, and then after that we have this group of people that the first level responsible of things like that. Yeah, and then usually we are going to, okay, it, this is the organizational structure is very important because it clearly indicates the responsibility of each department. Yeah, this is many times people do not know who the bosses are, and then who they answer to. So if the organization have an organizational structure, things will be very clearly explained. Yeah, and it provides a clear line of authority as well as job function. And then it comes the most common display, right, of organizational structure is by drawing up a chart. By drawing up a chart, and then illustration. Yes, the best illustration is by having a chart. The highest position should be at the top as usual, and then after that will be followed by the people. These the highest position responsible are, and then so on. And then after that the superior or underlings. Sorry, the underlings after that. Okay, now when you are doing the presentation, please make sure you do not use any abbreviation, meaning that you do not use any acronym. Yeah, for example, if the title is CEO, it's not CEO, it's Chief Executive Officer. And this should be applied when you are, if you were in charge of doing an organizational structure, the chart, later on when you are working. Or even when you, even now, when you are doing, for example, for your club or society, things like that, right? This is example. Mm, okay. Okay, these are examples of charts that one may have for their companies or organizations. For example, the first one, this is chairman. Okay, the chairman is the top person, the most top person, and then comes the deputy chairman, and deputy chairman answers to this person. And then after that, we have these four people: managing director, finance director, human resource, and admin director. And these four people, this group of people, they answers to the deputy chairman as well as the chairman. So if the chairman asks them to do anything, yeah, they have to do it. All right. Okay. And then we have another kind. Actually, they are the same, but this is quite different, right? For structure, the second structure, we have the chairman over here. And after that, we have the board of directors. And then under the board of directors, these are some people. For example, a group of people in the group corporate planning. And then we have another group of people, perhaps totally up to them, 5 to 10 people or 15 to 20 people, totally up to them. All right, in the business development, and then this over here we have another department, human resource department. You could read further over here what does it mean by all these departments, right? There are some common phrasal verbs. These are the common phrasal verbs used in describing the organizational structure. We could use report to, consists of, comprises, responsible for, in charge of, headed by. For example, we could say that the managing director finance over here. All right, we could say that managing director, finance director, human resource director, admin director is headed by deputy chairman. All right, those are the that is the example of the usage of common phrasal verbs. Okay, now you could read this. Okay, what does it mean by board of directors? Okay, who are the board of directors? Basically, the board of directors, they answer to the, all right, the answer. We are talking about okay, now I asked you guys to figure out the difference between private limited company and public listed company. All right. In both companies, they are shareholders. They are shareholders, and the shareholders, they are the person who they are the people, a group of people who elect the board of directors. So basically, the board of directors answer to the to shareholders, right? Okay. This is what you meant by board of directors is a group of directors who represent the stakeholders in overseeing the activities of the corporation. Okay, these stakeholders or shareholders, they elect or they appoint their board of directors in order to execute the business of the organization, meaning that they are the person who are should be the experts in operating the business. Yeah, but then the board of directors, they are the policymakers of the company, right? Because they have been tasked to operate the company. They are in charge of operating the company, coming out with the makers, coming out with the policy make. They are coming the one that comes up with the policies. They are the one that come up with the business ideas or business operation, things like that, right? There are numerous viewpoints on the rules and responsibility of board of directors. These are the simplified rules. Okay, the first one, second one, third, fourth, and so on. Okay, in an organization, board of directors are divided into two. But usually for the public listed companies or very big companies, we have non-executive director as well as executive director. Try to figure out more about what does it mean by executive director and non-executive directors. Yeah. Okay. If you want to elaborate further about the board of directors, yeah, these are the things that you could elaborate on the name, title, ish. But if you think that there are so many directors, you don't have to look further into this. Perhaps the person that you think is most significant, then you go there. Okay, these are the examples of two types of it's not two types, two person, two people, board of directors. Yeah, the first one and the second one. Example of mission and vision. All right, background of the company. What are things that you would like to include in the background of the company? And then, okay, I have included some information about public listed company. You just have to look further into private limited company. What does it mean by that? Okay, and a few examples of public listed company, right? And then obviously when you are doing your test or you are doing your assessment in week 5, it's not try to, you must avoid these companies because they are stated here. Try to find other than this. Yeah. Okay, and then read further. Features of a public listed company, public listed company. Okay, that is all. Now, what you have to do is the first one, go to your future, make sure you take your attendance there. And number 2, I have included a question on Google Classroom. Make sure that in order to get your participation counted, answer the question. Okay, that is all for today. Thank you very much.